All right. So I just want to thank you all for joining us today. We are so excited. We have 25 people joining us on this trip to Greece. And I believe that we will be connecting with another chamber there as well from Oregon. So their president and CEO has reached out to me, and I'm going to connect with and meet with him tomorrow on Zoom. But this is turning out, looks like it is going to be a great trip. And I have Oliver Bergeron with CI Destinations here, and he is going to tell us, go over the travel documents that you received in the mail and answer any questions that you may have. Oliver?
Take it away. Well, good afternoon, folks. Thanks for coming out. Crystal, thanks for putting this meeting together. My name is Oliver Bergeron. I'm the owner of CI Destinations. And before we jump in, I just want to say thanks. We've had the privilege and honor of working with the Danville, Pittsylvania County Chamber. Has it really been like 15 years or since 2015?
Yes. Well, since, yeah, so almost 11 years.
Yeah. We
Yeah.
started working with my dear friend Lori, and then carried the torch on through. And I look back at the places we've been together, and it's amazing how we get to see the globe.
Absolutely. And just a quick shout out to John Settle. I'm sure he doesn't want to be recognized, but he is one of our past board members, and we appreciate all of his service to the chamber during his time here with us. And we're excited that he and his wife will be joining us for Greece.
Nice. Okay. So this is one of those fun meetings. We're gonna be going over your travel documents and answering any and all questions, talking about flights, carry-ons, checked luggage, electricity. We'll talk about cell phones. We'll talk all kinds of fun stuff. But the most important thing I'm going to say, all right, I want everybody to write this down. Before you leave your house, do Crystal a favor, pull that passport out, look at it, and make sure it is on your body. The last thing you want to do is get to the ticketing counter in the airport, and the ticketing agent says passport, and you're like, oh my goodness, it's on the coffee pot next to the kitchen counter. Now we've got to figure that out. So look at that passport, and when you get to the place where you're meeting the motor coach to go to the airport, again, pull that passport out, make sure it's on your body, and you'll be good to go. That's the most important thing. Now let's talk about flights. Okay, we're flying from we've got a great schedule. Raleigh to Philly, Philly into Athens. We're leaving at 1:16 p.m. Get to Philly at 2:54, leave Philly at 4:55, into Athens at 9:15. I don't know if you guys remember, but one of my goals, and I always love to have goals, one of my goals is I like to get our travelers in on the earlier side. You get a little bit more out of your first day. You get to relax and settle into the hotel, go shopping, snacks, bottles of water, and it's a nice way to start the program. So I always try to get you guys in early. We're going to be landing at 9:15 in the morning. That's fantastic. So what we're going to do when we land in Athens, we're all going to go to baggage claim, and we're going to grab our checked piece of luggage. We're going to go outside to the arrivals hall, and that's where you're going to meet your tour manager, Christina. And she's going to have a CI destination sign right in the arrivals hall. This is a great opportunity to make life easy, to wear your name badges, because she's going to be looking for 38 travelers, and it's real easy to spot them if everybody has their name badge on. And you'll be looking for one person. So it's easy for her to find a group than it is for you to find one person. You'll have a CI destination sign. It'll look something like our luggage logos. And she's with you for the entire duration of the trip. So I mentioned checked luggage. Let's talk about checked luggage. Everybody's allowed to have one piece of checked luggage per person. And in that checked luggage, you want to have your resort casual attire, comfortable walking shoes, usually 2 pairs. And this piece of checked luggage has pretty strict measurements. It has to be 62 linear inches or less. So you measure the width, the depth, and the height, add all 3 of those up, and make sure it's 62 linear inches or less. Now, the night before your flight, put that piece of checked luggage on your scale and weigh it. Make sure it's 50 pounds or less. On your checked luggage, you'll have your luggage tag. Okay. And what I recommend our travelers do, go ahead and put, of course, your name, but put the address of the Titania Hotel. That's where we're spending 7 nights in Athens. That way, if by chance it gets lost somewhere, it's a good chance it'll end up at the Titania Hotel. And that is your checked luggage. So when you check in at the ticketing counter, when they ask for that passport, they're also going to give you a boarding pass. They're also going to give you a luggage claim sticker. Take a look, take a second, just take a look at it. Make sure that luggage claim sticker says Athens. If it says Philadelphia or Munich or Amsterdam or Paris, folks, that's where your luggage is going. So stop right then and there and say, oh no, excuse me, I'm going to Athens. Please reissue my luggage claim sticker to Athens. Let's jump that hurdle now so we don't have to deal with lost luggage down the road. And that's your checked piece of luggage. So now let's talk about carry-ons. You're allowed to have what they call a 21-inch Pullman. So there's a small bag on wheels that goes in the overhead compartment on the plane. Okay, and it measures 21 inches from the bottom of the wheels to the top of the handle. Take a tape measure out, make sure it's measuring 21 inches. If you're purchasing new luggage, take a tape measure with you. I am always blown away of how luggage manufacturers advertise a 21-inch Pullman. I've seen them 23, 24, 25 inches. And I'm like, well, that's not going to work. So take a tape measure. It sounds kind of silly. Take a tape measure with you when you buy in luggage and measure that carry-on. So in addition to your 21-inch Pullman, you're also allowed to have an item of a personal nature. And that can be a briefcase. It can be a camera bag. It can be a purse. It can be a backpack. This goes underneath the seat in front of you on the plane. I am a huge, huge fan of backpacks. They're great. They're convenient, especially when you're unpacking one time, which you guys have the luxury of doing. Because when you're on your little orientation tour around the Titania, your tour manager is going to show you some shops, where you can go and you can get some snacks, some fruits, some vegetables, a case of water. Make your hotel room your home. When you go out on tour every day, put a couple bottles of water in your backpack. That little hint, if you will, that'll enhance your experience. And that's really what I'm all about, making sure you guys have a great experience. So sticking with carry-ons, what are we putting in our carry-ons these days? So you're going to putting things that you have to have with you while you're traveling. Your phone, your chargers, your travel documents. If you're traveling with a traveling companion, put one of their outfits in your carry-on and one of your outfits in their carry-on. If by chance something happens to your lost luggage, you have an extra outfit. Prescriptions. Okay. Put all your prescriptions in your carry-on. Any medications you're taking with you, put in your carry-on. Now, in regards to prescriptions, if let's say you have 5 prescription bottles, you can consolidate them into the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday containers. You can put them in one container, but you can consolidate them. You don't have to take 5 prescription bottles with you. What I do on my phone, I have a travel folder for every trip I go on. So make a travel folder, call it Greece. And in that, take a picture of all your prescriptions. Take a picture of your passport. Take a picture of that hotel contact information page, which I'll be talking about. Take a picture of the emergency contact page. And lastly, take a picture of your checked piece of luggage. I like the travel folder because if you need to send any information back home, you have it right there in your fingertips. You know, you can send that emergency contact page, which I'll chat about, the hotel page. I'll send it all back home so your friends and family know where you're at. Sticking with cell phones, I mentioned the cell phone folder. Let's jump into cell phones. I have Verizon. Okay, so I always do the international plan. It costs maybe $10 a day, and it's typically activated in 24-hour increments. And what activated means, it means not only you sending a text, but you receiving a text or a phone call. So what I do, I have the international plan. I know I can make a phone call at any given time, but I may not want to receive text or calls at any given time. So I leave my phone on airplane mode. And then when I get to the hotel, I use the free Wi-Fi. I send my emails, my texts, my phone calls. When I'm done, turn off the Wi-Fi, turn on the airplane mode again. And I've been on trips where I haven't even used that international plan, and it saved me, 70, $80. So, and I like the airplane mode because what happened to me once is I was on a trip in October and my sister back home texted me, "What are we doing for Thanksgiving?" Well, she just activated my plan. I can talk about that next week. And for the next 24 hours, my plan was activated. So that's what I do with my cell phone. Um, let's talk a little bit about electricity. So I put it in the chat. If you need to have an electrical converter / adapter. This specific one handles the wattage and the voltage of a flat iron. Flat irons destroy these things. So if you're purchasing one and you're taking a flat iron, look at the description. It'll actually have pictures of the appliances that it can actually operate. If it has an X through it, it can't operate that. So the one I put in the chat works great. That is this one. And it handles the voltage and wattage of the flat iron. I also like this one. It has the Type-C ports. It has 3 USB ports, and it has the USA plug. Gone are the days where you used to have a travel converter with a bag with 20 different outlet plugs in it. You can just get one of these. And you shouldn't spend more than $30 or $40. Okay. What I do every 5 years or so, I would just replace those because $30 or $40 is much more affordable to replace that than to replace this. And the things for plugging into them these days, they are expensive. So that's your electricity. So let's talk about your optional tours. So there's 2 optional tours, one going to Delphi and one going to the Temple of Poseidon in Cape Sunion with 2 wine tasting experiences. On the adjacent page, there is your name and a number. It's either a 1 or a 0. And if it is a 1, that means you're confirmed. If it is a 0, that means you opted out. You can add these up until Friday if you like. If you opted out, that's absolutely fine too. On your next set of pages is your daily itinerary. Okay. Now, at the end of each day, there's a letter that designates which meals are included, whether it's a breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So you'll have a B for breakfast, L for lunch, D for dinner. This gives you an idea of what you can expect every day. Now, at the front desk, there will also be a more detailed itinerary with the daily departure times and arrival times. This is where I talk about being a courteous traveler. So I've been to Greece and Athens 17 times or so. And let's say I'm traveling with a group and I want to skip day 5. It's okay. You guys can skip it. You can do whatever you want to do. You're not married to the itinerary. If you do skip a day, please let Crystal know or Christina know. and let them know the night before, because what you want to avoid happening is, like I said, I'm going to skip day 5. I'm going to sleep in. Well, 9 o'clock rolls around, usually the time the coaches leave. And 5 after 9, we aren't pulling away from the curb. And 10 after 9, people are, why aren't we pulling away from the curb? Quarter after 9, they realize it's that bum Oliver who is holding the group up. Now, everybody's knocking on my hotel room door. I don't get to sleep in, and now I've just inconvenienced my friends. So just be a courteous traveler. If the tour manager says, okay, we're leaving today at 9, everybody should be back on board the coach 5 minutes early. And now everything will be running smooth. So that's your daily itinerary. There's your hotel contact page. We're staying at one of my favorite hotels, the Titania, with a great location. And there's the contact information. Take a picture of this, put this in your travel folder. If your friends back home want to know where you're at, you can simply send them a text with that, and everybody will be informed. Airline tickets. So there are no airline tickets. Okay, everything is electronic. So when you look at your flight information, that e-ticket number, that is your airline ticket. Okay. There is a confirmation number, and with American Airlines, I believe you can go in, I believe it's 24 hours in advance, and you can move your seats around, do whatever you want. Outside of that, you can still go in, but they charge you to move your seats around. What you do is you simply put in that confirmation number, your first name, your last name, and up comes your flight. Now you go to American.com or AA.com, go to trip details. It'll drop down, have a drop down menu. It'll say log in. It'll say make an account. Don't do either one. It'll say log in with booking credentials. That's your confirmation number. Put that in, your name, and up will come your flight schedule. So e-tickets, yeah, everything's electronic. Let's see, travel insurance. I highly recommend travel insurance. Things happen in travel. You still have time to purchase it. If you did purchase it, fine, but I never leave home without it. And I like a company called Travelex. They're a great AAA rated insurance company. Let's talk about credit cards. Okay, so credit cards, take your MasterCard or your Visa and leave everything else at home. Give your credit card companies a call, let them know where you're going to be so that they don't flag your account for fear of fraudulent activities because there's purchases being made in Athens. Sticking with credit cards, if you're, I use them everywhere. And when you're dining, the waiter will come over with a portable handheld Visa reader or credit card reader, and it'll have your bill. You basically sign, and then it'll say, do you want to pay in US or do you want to pay in euros? Always pay in euros. That means your credit card company is going to dictate the exchange rate, and your credit card company is going to get the best exchange rate. If you pay in US, well, then the vendor, the restaurateur, they're gonna dictate the exchange rate, and it's never going to be favorable for you. It's always going to cost more. So always click pay in euros, and you'll have the best value. Money. Okay, so in Greece, they are on the euro, and when the book was printed, the euro was trading at like right around $1.20. It's pretty exciting. Today it's at 1.165, which means it's a little stronger. You can go to your local bank, usually like a Chase or a Wells Fargo, and buy euros in advance. They'll charge you a couple of euros to do it. So if it's trading at 116, maybe they charge you 121. It's not a big deal because you're not going to get that much. Like I typically travel with 200 or 300 euros. And the way that ATMs are not regulated in Europe, I like to get them in advance, because if you use an ATM in Athens and it seems to be a convenient ATM, you know, the ones that are always in the city center and the side of buildings and convenience stores, or even in hotels, those are all independently owned. There's no regulations on the fees, so the owners set the fees. And I was talking with one of my chamber executives, and he said, gosh, I saw one, it was 50%. So always, always, always use a ATM that is affixed to a bank. There'll still be fees, but they're much more affordable. Always use the bank ATMs if you don't get your money in advance. How much money should you take? Well, I travel with 200 to 300 euros, and I always come home with change. Travel with an amount that if you lost it, it's not going to wreck your trip. You know, I would be thrilled to lose 200 or 300 euros, but if I'm at the Acropolis, I'm going to still be going, oh my God, look at this. This is biblical. And 200 or 300 euros is in the back of my head. 2 or 3 thousand, gonna wreck my trip. So I always travel with an amount, and if I lost it, not a big deal. I think you can go through this trip with 200 or 300 euros and come home with change, because you're going to be using your credit card everywhere. One more thing about the ATMs, and then I'll get off the money. So when you're at an ATM, you know, here in the States, it's like I will do it like I'm at the Indianapolis 500. I'll pop the card in, I'll hit withdraw, I'll do my PIN, bada boom, bada bing. I'm done in like 30 seconds. I really don't read anything because I know what everything is. So the ATMs in Greece, take your time, read the screens, because it will tell you what the fees are. They'll say, hey, it's 30% or whatever they are. It'll tell you, and it will give you the opportunity to reject or cancel. So don't just zip through it like you do here in the States. Take your time, read the screen. These little hints will just save you money and aggravation. Tipping, tipping at the restaurants and whatnot, that's typically all included. For your tour managers, tips are typically 5 to 7 euros a day. For a driver, your driver is usually with you every day. It's usually 1 to 2 euros a day. Those two are taken care of at the end of the trip. Okay. And what I love our travelers to do is take a little thank you card with you, and write Christina a little note on, you know, on which day she absolutely blew it out of the water and made it the trip of a lifetime. And then just tip whatever you want to tip. Those are guidelines. But I am amazed how our tour managers stay in touch with our travelers, and they become friends, not just a working relation. They become friends because of social media. And my tour managers have more friends that are travelers than I do. So maybe I should be a tour manager. Anyways, that's my 2 cents on tipping. So in-flight helpful hints: stay well hydrated. The more hydrated you are, the less likely you'll have to have a negative experience with jet lag. So drink lots of water, get up and walk that spacious airline aisle a couple times. And when you get to your hotel room, you're going to look at that bed, because it's going to be, noonish or so when you get there. You're like, oh gosh, a nap sounds wonderful. Do yourself a favor. That's right, Brenda. Do yourself a favor. Put all your luggage on the bed. Okay? There's no place for you to take a nap. Now go out and enjoy. Stay up till 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. You'll sleep like a baby. You'll wake up refreshed, have a nice buffet breakfast, and hit the ground running. If you take a nap, let's say you take a nap at 4 or 5 in the afternoon, you're going to sleep through dinner. You're going to wake up at around 9 or 10, and you're going to be wired all night thinking, gosh, Oliver said, don't take a nap. Now I know why. And you're going to fight jet lag for a few days. So the tap water in Athens is perfectly safe to drink. I'm a big fan of bottled water just because of simplicity, especially since you're unpacking one time. Make your hotel room your home and just take some water out with you when you're traveling. Timeliness. Now Crystal's joining the group, and her role is as a chamber executive, and she is there to share an experience with you all. She's there in a social capacity. So if a concern comes up, just let your tour manager know. That's okay. That's why we have the tour managers. And once you've traveled with us, you're gonna be like, where does Oliver find these people? Because they are rock stars. If something comes up and you're like, I don't want to talk to Christina about this, call me. I can fix I'm amazed at what I can fix if I know there's an issue. But if I don't know it, I can't fix it.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes hand in hand with that emergency contact page, which is the last page of the book. Not that we're done, but I like to have our travelers to have an after hours number. If something happens, you have someone at your fingertips. So I'm available not only to you, but to your friends and family back home, because 9 times out of 10, the emergencies happen. Honestly, they happen back home. So, and I'm a big believer, if an emergency happens, it needs to be handled when it's happening, not when I'm rolling into the office at 8 or 9 in the morning Pacific time. And for some reason, I don't know, the emergencies always happen between 1 and 3 o'clock Pacific time in the morning. That's okay. That's what I signed up for. Crystal's called me while she's been on tour. Anne's called me when she's been on tour. And that's one thing that keeps the chamber coming back to our relationship, because there's several companies in the chamber market, and we're the best.
And he always answers, no matter what time it is.
Yeah, it was so funny. I did a meeting like this for a chamber last night, and it was a chamber that they had done a trip with another company. And the traveler, I'm talking about it, and she starts laughing. She goes, those emergency numbers never work. She'll remember, and she rehashed the whole thing. Thank goodness the chamber executive was there. And she said, folks, just for the record, that wasn't Oliver's trip. So I took it a step further. I took that opportunity and I said, okay, now see that 999 number? Let's see where it rings. And I asked her to call it. Well, sure enough, it rang right here. And so yeah, we're here for you in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Got off the topic there, didn't I? Customs, when you're going through customs, keep in mind these folks have a pretty serious job to do. Just be kind and gracious and smile, and they'll whisk you right through. Last night when I was talking to the Wilsonville Chamber, which is in Oregon, one of the travelers started talking about pistachios, because that's something that is known predominantly from Greece.
Mm-hmm.
And he talked about it. He was excited. He's like, yeah, I bring them back for Christmas, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, let him talk. I said, okay, so folks, anything agriculture, you cannot bring back to the States. So you've got to eat all the pistachios there. They're just going to confiscate them. And he was bummed, but I mean, I'd rather have him know now than when it gets there.
Yeah.
There's also destinational knowledge for all the great places we're going. You guys can read while you're flying. And now the funny thing is, on that helpful phrases page, I am not really sure what's more intimidating, trying to read the Greek language or trying to speak the Greek language. So, 2 phrases I always know, and kind of gives you where a tweak where the dialect goes. So Kalispera, that's always good evening. Kalimera is always good morning. You can kind of hear how the words roll, and now you can try to butcher the Greek language. You will find that if you do try to butcher the Greek language, doors will open up to you. People will say, "Oh no, English, please. I'm proud of my language. You're killing it." And so yeah, try to butcher it. They'll stop you. English is widely spoken. In the same breath, if you say, "Hey, yo, where's the bathroom?" They're just going to look at you like you're crazy, and they're going to say, "You're not certainly not talking to me that way." But they'll just ignore you. So just be nice, and um, you'll find that the world will open up. Now, in regards to restaurants, Greece is a special place for food, and your tour manager is going to shine here. One thing I love to do when I'm in Athens, I love the local flavor. So I go to restaurants. First, I go to a restaurant that has people in it because you want to make sure people, it's popular. And then I'll make sure there's no English anywhere on that menu. Okay. And then I don't even try to look at the menu. I just kind of walk around the restaurant to see what really looks good and go with your gut and venture out to what you may normally have. The lamb there is amazing. The seafood's amazing. Um, I was at one restaurant and I didn't know what I was looking at. I'm like, what is that? And I asked the busboy, who's the waiter, who's the cook, who's the owner. He took me by my arm into the kitchen and he showed me what he was preparing. So it turned out what he was preparing was a local dish called moussaka, which is it's like a Greek lasagna with lamb and feta cheese and grape leaves. Oh my, it's amazing. And I just looked at it. I would not even know what moussaka looks like on a menu. And it was a highlight. So it's okay to dine with your eyes. Let's see. Titania passport. So you guys are at the Titania Hotel. You're with another chamber, the Wilsonville Chamber. We have, I think, 4 different groups throughout Athens this week. So you may see other CI destinations travelers. Your group is the Titania group. Your group is the only group at the Titania Hotel. When you go and see your motor coach, it'll say the Titania on it. Because you may see other CI destination travel. You're like, oh, where are you from? And start talking and just get on the coach with them, but it may not be your right coach. So always make sure that you make sure you're on the Titania coach. And then one last thing, and I'll turn it over to Crystal. Passports. I've had travelers call me. I left it in the car. I left it on the counter. I had one traveler call me, say, "Oliver, do I really need it?" Yep, you really need it. So make sure it's on your body when you get out of the car, get on that motor coach, make sure it's on your body when you're walking into the airport, and then you won't have any problems. Any questions for me? Oh, one other thing. So when you're in Athens at the Titania and at all hotels, not even in Greece, but all throughout Europe, they do not have the small washcloths. Okay, so go to the dollar store, buy like a pack of 10, throw them away as you use them, and you'll be fine because you will never find the small washcloths at your hotels.
What about Oliver? I know, well, just checking to make sure that this is still the same, but what about tipping in the restaurants? Is
It's
that
all part of your bill.
okay? Yeah.
And tipping for your checked luggage, your porterage, that's it taken care of. Everybody's allowed to have one piece of checked luggage per person.
And then just to note this about the tipping that Oliver mentioned for the tour guide and the tour bus driver. So we will have the same tour guide all week. And so typically we just wait until the last day and collect tips and give it to her collectively. Or if you want to give your own tip on the last day, but typically we just hold off and tip, at the end, because it's the same tour guide. And we do the same thing for the tour bus driver as well. But the local travel or tour guides that are mentioned, like the city tour guides, if we have any of those, we will probably only see them once. And so if you want to tip the local or the city tour guides, you're welcome to do that on that day.
And that's usually €1 or 2 per person.
Correct.
And one other thing. So the public restrooms, not the restrooms at hotels or restrooms at restaurants, public restrooms that are in the city center. They charge a couple euros to use the facilities. So always have some change on you.
Any questions? And so I'll go ahead and mention for those of you who are taking the airport shuttle with us at the chamber, I believe we have 12 people signed up for that. We will be meeting at the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research in the upper parking lot. So that's here in Danville, 150 Slayton Avenue, but it's not the main entrance. You will pass the main entrance and go to the second parking lot. And our tour bus driver will be picking us up at 8:30 the morning of our departure. And so if you want to arrive by 8:15, we plan to depart by 8:30 to head to the Raleigh airport.
Passports.
Yes.
And Hey, Crystal, I have a question.
Yes.
On the nights that we don't have anything planned, can we go ahead and like make reservations for places that we definitely want to eat at?
Absolutely.
Done. Okay.
Oliver gave us a really good recommendation in Italy. It's probably the best meal I've ever had in my life. So we love that he has been on, to all the places that we travel to. He's been there, he's tried them out, so he always has great recommendations for us, places. Yeah.
Okay.
And has everyone that's on the call been able to download and access the WhatsApp?
Yes.
Awesome. And if any of you have family members that you would like to add to it, that would like to keep up with us while we're on the trip, you can feel free to add them as well.
Pictures.
Yes.
Yeah. Lots of pictures.
Yeah. So if there, was there someone? Sorry. No, if there are no other questions, we will go ahead and wrap up the call. But if you think of anything else, you can put it in the chat on WhatsApp or send an email to me or Oliver.
Have a wonderful trip, folks.
Thanks,
Oliver.
so
Thanks,
much.
Crystal.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.